What's up, everybody? People again, and it is Monday. Once again, it is Monday. TMM time, Trad Method Monday. Monday Negro time. You remember those commercials on the radio and on TV about motocross and monster truck rallies and stuff like that? Well, I just went there. Bring it. I just went there. Alright, so LaxCon's over. First Monday after LaxCon, and I feel that I need to kind of show something off, but as well as talk about something that is more of a concept than actually showing you guys how to do something, because Trad Method Monday isn't so much about tutorials and actually showing you how to do it. It's giving you guys an understanding behind why and how you do it. So it actually gives you a reason to do it and helps you, again, understand what it is you're putting into your pocket. So today's subject is actually going to be something that Lax All-Stars went over months ago. I think maybe almost even a year ago. But it's something that I feel that I should touch on, since everybody's always asking me all these questions and stuff. And I figured I should get in on it just a little bit to give you guys my input. So the subject is actually going to be your multi-piece, or in this case, a 3-piece trad, which is actually in my new Jewel Lacrosse Aries head, which is a universal spec head that was released at the LaxCon, which I was actually helping display, string up, and as far as I know, I'm the only one that's actually even touched the second rail out of the tri-rail system that they have going on, where it has the first rail, which is your receiving rail, second rail is a stringing rail, third rail is a stringing rail. So get more into that later. But so for example, this is going to be our multi-piece or 3-piece classic trad that I'm going to be talking about for this video, versus doing or using a 1-piece classic traditional like in Candy here, which I also had at the convention. So if anybody actually saw it, I know a lot of people wanted to use it to see how she felt. So you have become a hoe. I'm going to leave it at that. But so, alright, there's always a different kind of concept or understanding or even an idea when it comes to how you should string your traditional, whether it's a classic or a PETA or TradX or anything like that. I used to do my PETAs with a single string, and I figured out that that was actually a lot harder for my consumers to adjust and fix with time. And that's when I kind of stopped doing the single pieces for that. But I never really stopped doing a 1-piece for a classic traditional. And the main reason behind that is because if you can figure out and get down perfectly your tension, your knots, your spacing, everything that comes, that I've always been going over, everything that I've always tried to reiterate for you guys to understand and get into your thick little skulls, some of you, not all of you, some of you, once you get all those down and you can do it in a single string, you pretty much mastered it. Like, if you can get it perfectly, like 5 times in a row, or just as many times as you feel you need to, if you can get it down perfectly to where pretty much anybody can pick up the stick and use it, then you've accomplished it. You've accomplished how to string a classic traditional. But the thing is, this takes a while. This takes a while to actually master, or at least come close to the level of mastering it, to where you can knock it out every single time. This is probably the most challenging pocket to make. A lot of people will say, oh, multi-strings, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those are hard and stuff, but those are all, a lot of those are multiple pieces of string that you can control the different tensions and stuff. And yeah, it's a different kind of difficulty, but this one is more of an art that has a difficulty to it. So your single string is basically starting from either your top end or your bottom end, whichever end or side that you really care to do, and it snakes through the pocket until it's done. So you do your transitions knots, which I've done tutorials for and videos for, and then your top transition knots, which is also what I've more along the lines accustomed to be called the lock knot, because it does look like the top of a lock. But so it incorporates pretty much everything that you would use in almost any traditional besides your twists and coils. Otherwise, it is the pinnacle of stringing to me. If you can accomplish whatever you're trying to get out of a pocket with a single string, then you've mastered it. It takes a high amount of skill to do this pocket. And then you move over into your 3-piece or your multi-piece, however many pieces that you're going to end up using. Move over into that type of traditional pocket, or at least a classic, and it's a different skill level, so to speak, because you can actually start from your middle. And some kind of scooting back from that just a second, there are people that start with the middle track and go to the outsides for a single string, and that's fine. That's a different way to do it. It's just not how I do it. Just because I feel that if you can master the tension from one side going to the other instead of from the middle out, I feel that you've accomplished something that most people can't do. So moving into the 3 or multi-piece is you can actually do that same concept where you start from the middle and work your way out because you have multiple pieces there. Your tension is basically ended, so to speak, at the very bottom when you tie it off. So you can do your, I like to say, your center double, because there's 2 tracks being controlled by 1 string. And with this is all Gimalax stuff, so this is one of their custom strings, and I used it to go down this section, these 2 different sections, and that's how I kind of get more or less my spacing with a multi-string, is I get my center, and then I loosely string all my other knots. With a multi-string, I've gone over this before, but with a multi-string, you're actually not going to be able to do the same sort of concept as a single string, because you're not necessarily snaky. If you're going to start from the middle and you're going to actually wrap around from the outside in all the way down the middle section, you have to adjust the 2 sections that are connecting to that, where instead of going from the outside around and in, you have to go inside, from the inside of the pocket out and around for those 2 close outer sections. So these 2 right here, just on the outside of the center. And then your 2 most outer, you can do from the outside in. But so I usually try and do the very center section to kind of get my spacing, how big I want the diamonds to be, more or less, as well as my positioning of my pocket. And then I actually do one of these outside ones, where with a 3-piece, you actually have 2 section, 2 section, 1 section with the strings. And whether you do your 1 section on this side or this side, I usually tend to do it on this side. That's how you really get your spacing down. That's the same way that you get your spacing in your single piece. And that's how you get your spacing and your tension, more or less, with that most outside leather. And then you get your spacing, and then you adjust the rest of the pocket based off of that. You center your interlocks, your diamond sizes, your tension everywhere, and then you just start working it through the pocket. I've done it in my live stringing video with the RP3. When you see me keep going back and forth and whatnot in that video, that's me going through and finding and tensioning once I found the sweet spots of my interlocks. And that's basically how you do it. That's all it is. If you're really trying to work on your classic traditional, you're trying to get better at it. Before you really try a single piece, like Throne is always trying to show in his videos and stuff. I know he did a tutorial on how to do it. For beginners, I really strongly recommend that you do not try a single piece. Try a 3-piece. I know that the Throne kits aren't exactly long enough to do a 3-piece, so if you're going to get string, get it from like Gimalax, or maybe not Stick Doctor. Their cross lace is a little hard, especially for beginners. You want it to be a little bit pliable or malleable so that it bends around really easy. But for your 3-piece, you're going to want your lengths to be your double track lengths. You're going to want them to be right around an arm span and a half, and just to be safe, maybe go 2 arm spans, in case you end up doing an 8 diamond, because if you measure it for a 6 diamond, it won't fit an 8 diamond. And then your single one, that's basically just going to be an arm span, and that's perfectly fine. And then for your single string pocket, you're actually going to want to measure it to right around 3 arm spans. So kind of adds, if you kind of add up this, it equals that. But always cut long, don't ever cut short. And that's really all I got for multi-string versus single string. It's just the difficulty level is a little higher for your single versus your multi. And it's just something that I've seen a lot of guys, they kind of give up because they've been doing single strings and they're not getting it. If you're not getting the concept of the tension and everything for a single string just yet, string you a multi-piece. It'll save you a lot of time, maybe about 10 to 15 minutes on average, I would say. It would save you a bit of time because there's a little bit less work with the tension, obviously. And then you can always do the pocket from the top down. There's no trying to get the tension from the weaving and everything like that. You can always work your pocket from the top down, which actually will help a lot of you guys understand the tension that's required to actually make your channel that's actually in a traditional, because it's not going to be the same sort of channel that you get in mesh. If you have a tight, super tight channel like you do in mesh, more likely your traditional is going to either sail way too much or it's going to have way too much width. It's the same thing as mesh, basically. But you don't really need a super tight channel, so just keep that in mind. But that's really all I got for your single and your multi-piece traditionals. Pretty much all concepts that go into the pockets I've already gone over, and hopefully stay tuned for the next one. I will be doing a review of the Jewel Jimalev shaft from Jimalax and Jewel Lacrosse, as well as I'm going to definitely be doing this tomorrow, is the Jewel Lacrosse Aries head, which you guys can sit there and say that it's like the Hawk all you want. It's not. And it's not like the blade either. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got a little bit of a, again, understanding when it comes to your classic traditionals. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I'll catch you later.